This is the age of dungeons. A place filled with demons opens on this earth. Of course humans are also created. Grant the strength to fight those demons. But somewhere, there still existed dungeons that they couldn't conquer. Specifically, there are 7 vaults. Humans still cannot master it. And they are called the 7 Great Dungeons. In there, the most infamous is the dungeon called the Ancient Core. This dungeon has 3 entrances accompanied by 3 guardians. Guard at the red path door on the left, protected by a little man named Green. The main blue road is in the middle, protected by a martyr named Patrick. And the road on the right is black, known as the sugariest and dirtiest. It is protected by countless tentacles, in an undetermined quantity. And the dominant creature, this impregnable fortress, is a monster. Lived for thousands of years. Appears on the first page of Imperial mythology. It has a fancy name called Server. That's all that does. Humanity knows about the Ancient Core dungeon. Through a book. But many times they don't know that. That book is it. It's because of the dungeon master. Spread out with his 2 entourage. Their purpose is for adventurers. After reading it, will come here to recharge. Keep this dungeon alive. Anyway, what's the point of a dungeon with so many mysteries? No one dares to come close. We need to give them some information. Like this. Let them think they know a lot about this dungeon. If so, they will rush here like moths, without knowing that more than half of that information is wrong. Indeed, from the day this book was smuggled out, up to 74 adventurers have come here. And of course, no one returned alive. Unfortunately, their weapons, they were all melted by the 116 tentacles on the 3rd path. So it loses its use value. If it was Lena, Green would have been able to handle them. But it didn't cause any damage. Green is extremely sorry. Anyway, they lured adventurers here. It's just to get loot from them. Don't think. They all chose the 3rd path. Then it was damaged by the tentacles. I've run out of black leather equipment. Always in the form of an ancient monster. I heard the maid say that his body gradually changed, finally transformed into human form. The hand is put on and placed on the head. Green gently rubbed an encouraging yes. If it's you, you can definitely do it. Sorry, but we're here for a meeting, right? Or come here just to play. This voice belongs to Patrick. The Guardian Master is at gate number 2. The atmosphere is dark when standing near these 2 people. Makes me lose my teeth. But it's not just teeth that are rotten. My skull is also rotten. Patrick's jokes are so bland. No one wants to laugh. Green immediately took the other 2 people back together. The main topic of today's meeting is issue 116. The tentacle on the right door was seriously injured. Black skin pressed for a long time, looking uninterested. Don't worry about the tentacle's ability to regenerate. If the situation is not good, then we can keep an eye on it. A short period of time. Then just find another bodyguard. Boss, can you find 2 people too? I also want to rest. Patrick was extremely excited. But this request was immediately rejected by Daver. Patrick was destined to be a slave to Daver all his life. Can't run away. The problem here is that while the 116 tentacles have not recovered, they have to change missions to protect all 3 paths. Anyway, news about the 3rd path, about to be conquered, will also spread quickly. Humanity will also soon add new conquest teams. Follow that path. Just enter the dungeon. Davar thought for a moment. The decision to propose a solution is as follows. Green E was originally guarding the left entrance. Time will change to the right entrance. Meanwhile, Patrick will take her place. Because if humanity realizes Green has changed places, then they will turn to that place. If you do that, then we will be able to withstand those 2 attacks. Dater clapped his hands excitedly. I feel like my opinion isn't bad at all. Wait, it's arranged. What does he intend to do if man takes the middle path? Following this question from Patrick, all 3 people simultaneously fell into deep thought. Davidair suddenly felt embarrassed. Because my plan is full of holes. If that's the case, then let them go straight to us. Patrick silently criticized his boss' poor plan. Meanwhile, Green exclaimed again that the plan was perfect. It's true that the love of a reincarnated man cannot be cured. Okay, looks like the problem has been resolved. Now then, just need to decide what to do with that sword. Sword? What sword? The sword used by the leader of the conquest group. It is one of the 36 masterpieces of virtue. That's a sword that's quite famous among humans. Patrick fumbled around in the pile of bodies for a while. Pull up a sharp sword. The sword Green is using. Also one of those 36 masterpieces. Daver evaluated for a moment. That's right. This time humanity has found a really good weapon. And Patrick doesn't know what to do with this. If you give it to the monsters near the entrance, humans will quickly take it back. But for humanity to grasp such a good weapon is not good for them at all. So, Patrick cautiously brought the sword in front of the Daver. You should accept it. Patrick, you don't use a sword, just take something. Patrick thought he heard wrong. Had to ask twice more to confirm. When I was sure, Devar gave me this. He laughed so much that the whole world lit up with life. Ha ha, one of the 36 masterpieces of virtue belongs to me. What could be more fun than this during the day? Because I gave you that sword. So tear up your resignation letter. Hiding in that rib. Patrick from the moment he received the sword. A Patrick skeleton. Also full of vitality. Besides that precious sword, there's some more loot left. As always, developer orders Green to keep valuables. The remaining useless equipment. Then use it to lure the next group of humans. But there is one problem that makes Lena very worried. Those are magical equipment obtained from humans. The monsters in the dungeon don't really need it. So she suggested never. Extract mana stones from equipment and sell them. That way they can also make a lot of money. So it's been a while. Should we go to the human village? Both Green and Patrick hit the table at the same time. A very loud sound. But Davar is extremely clumsy at transforming into a human. Right now he was showing his tail. Yet every time I want to go to the human village. So as usual, the task of pretending to be a normal person to do business. Assigned to the Green. But today she didn't start off very well. Because of the mana stones that Lena brought to the shop. All were refused by the store owner. But Greener gritted his teeth. His attitude extremely vicious and unpleasant. The shop owner pulled out a magician's stone and introduced it. It is a mana stone named B. Compared to the stones that Lena brought. Then it's much smaller. This is enough to see the difference. The level between these two types of mana stones. The stones that you brought cannot be used if you don't reach the royal mage level, or a high-level magician belonging to the magic tower. The shop owner thought for a moment, then continued. Some jewelers signed a commitment with the royal palace, or some branches of the magic tower. This can be resolved. Green began to consider for a moment. The royal palace in the capital is too far away, and she didn't want to go to the magic tower at all. Only because of his master Davar. Drama can break out into anything. So she gathered the mana stones on the table and left. Take care, kid. The shop owner just said goodbye. Then she saw a large mana stone left on the table. So I called you back, you've gathered some mana stones. That's the tip. Thank you for your information, man. Greenie had already left the door and the shop owner was still watching. What a strange kid, you're also human. Greenie. Go all the way to the nearest branch of the magic tower. Knowing she came here to sell mana stones. The guardians are here. Directly led her to the top floor. That's where the head of this branch works. A female magician named Aro Miss Ammer. Just saw her. Greenie sensed a huge source of mana. Extremely impressive. The two sides greeted briefly. Greenie introduced himself with a fake name, Jean. I was going to ignore her because she was just a child. But the guard said she came here with a bunch of mana stones. You must know the reputation of the magic tower. So hopefully what you bring, high class enough to befit our status. This sentence from Remix Ammer has a very clear meaning. She does not accept low-level mana stones. Greener opened the bag and directly poured out his pile of ice. See for yourself. The sparkling light of that pile of mana stones make Remixes stunning. She's not hard to spot. All of this pile of rocks was dumped by Fame. Furthermore, it's not just one pill, it's a whole bunch. Where does a kid like Lena get all these stones? When looking closely at the opponent, Gramis discovered she had silver hair. What a coincidence. This is also the hair color, characteristics of a noble family, among the 8 great families in the empire. So, Gomes implicitly believes that Green is the lady of this family. Left home and stole the stones. She quickly retracted her previous disdainful attitude. And please buy all the stones. The price the Gomes paid was 50 cubic centimeters of gold for each pill. And which one is special? Also paid at the price of 80 cubic centimeters. Green remembered the shop owner's words earlier. He said a commoner must save 15. Just been able to buy this stone. But in the average empire, every family, commoners can save 10 cubic centimeters of gold per year. So 15 is 100 cubic centimeters. It's obvious that Promise is pressuring her price. If you mess with me, you'll die. Remix was scared by this cold look of Green. She silently calculated in her head. Looks like this kid knows more than I thought. Remix quickly apologized. Actually, the remaining money is at our branch. It's not enough to buy all of these stones. So just buy as much as you can. The defender of the Gomes carried out a tree full of gold. Inside is 2,000 cubic centimeters. But she still wanted to buy all those mana stones. So Gomes made a bet. Items of equivalent value will be used to exchange for the remaining stones. Are you sure about the value of those items? Green is skeptical. Anyway, the woman in front also seemed quite cunning. Furthermore, they must also be easy to sell. You can rest assured about that. Please come this way and I'll show you the items. RMIT leads Greena to the item vault. There are truly countless valuable things here. But none of it caught Greena's sight. Until the remix stopped before a gem. Heart-shaped bright red. This thing caught Greena's attention. What is this? It's called Red Love Stone. It is said that it is a treasure that can change emotions. Love comes true. Heard about turning love into reality too. Magrina immediately glowed. RMIT continued to explain. That New York mana into this stone. In front of the person you love. Then, the soul in the stone can bring eternal love. 9 for 2 people. When Green heard this, he didn't think anymore. She decided to take this, but Remix was hesitant at this time. She held the red love stone in her hand. Cherish it like a treasure. I'm not sure about the other dishes. But it's a bit difficult to get this. Because it can steal the emperor's heart. So it is a priceless treasure. Even so, Green still wants it as much as possible. She gritted her teeth and took it out from her pocket. Something that shocked Robert even more. That pile of level A mana stones. How did she get this? It's not strange for Remix to be so panicked. Because what Green just pulled out is a precious sword. She always carries with her one of the 36 masterpieces of virtue. After Green left, a defender of Remix came to her with an extremely eager look. Guild owner, are you really exchanging that red love stone? So why don't you know what that item is? If you let that girl go like this, then she will definitely die. That naive noble lady changed my body to get the item you want. But don't worry, girl.
Tats unfortunate.
Will die immediately after the curse is lifted. And so is the person that girl likes. So it won't leave any trace. Truly a businessman. Having a profession like Gomes is still much more cunning. Green was now leaving with the red love stone. Completely. Not knowing anything about the dangers that await me. Front. The next place she visited was the trade castle. This is also one of the 7 great dungeons. Green's purpose in coming here was to get a haircut. I'm sorry for coming here without notice. I still owe you a lot. She always helps me. Neighbors should take care of each other, right? Furthermore, I also like to see your pretty appearance. Green A. The person cutting Lena's hair is a beautiful woman. She is the final boss of the Trade Castle dungeon. Possesses a beautiful name. Is Uspist Bathory. Espist just cut Lena's hair. Just constantly praising her figure. Her beauty. This is also the thing that Uspist is most jealous of. With the dwarves. A face that never ages. Espist is also very beautiful and youthful. But to achieve that she had to bathe in human blood. Drink human blood and use all 8 cosmetics. That's why my mansion looks extremely scary. Miss Uspist, now you see what the green looks like. Of course she is the most beautiful girl I have ever seen. I guarantee. No one will dare to refuse her this look. By the way, why are you dressed like this? Are you going to confess your love? Uspist was just joking. I didn't expect it to actually hit Green's heart. She held the red love stone tightly in her hand. A smile brighter than the spring sunshine. Yes, I will go confess. Uspist was sprayed with glue and became stiff for a few seconds. Green has been here many times for beauty treatments. This is the first time. She heard that she has the man of her dreams. Moreover, I still want to confess my love. So who is that person, Sir Davidair? Uspist was sprayed with stiff glue again. Her whole body trembled. Is this girl joking? How can you joke but look so serious? But Greena firmly affirmed that he was serious. At this point, Uspit feels even more confused. Because in her impression, Davar is a huge monster. The eyes are dark, and most importantly very ugly. Don't know such a person. Is there anything else that makes Lena so pretty? So adorable. I like many things about him. He's strong, but how strong is he? Well, I think he is the strongest person in the world. But his laziness destroyed everything. Greene did not deny those things, including the fact that the Daver is so large and scary. Eat like a fleet. Sleeping all day but still snoring unwisely. And recently I've gotten even fatter. Oh my god. But no matter what, she still likes him. It's not that I like him very much. Osbert knew this girl was crazy about guys. So no further advice. She just sincerely hoped everything would go smoothly. Because Green even worthy of good things. Much better than Davar. If he refuses you, just come here and say bad things about him. Thank you, Miss Uspis Greenium. Red love stone in hand. Full of faith in what's to come. I will definitely succeed. At the same time at the Royal Palace in the capital Lias. A meeting is taking place. By the Dungeon Conquering Alliance. Main content of the meeting. Related to the fate of the Conquest team. Led by Hero Pearl Hit Tantus. Owner of one of the 36 masterpieces of virtue. Now in Patrick's hands. One person thinks. Pearl and her entire Conquest team died. But some others strongly disagree with this idea. It's not you who said that. They can easily destroy the guards. Or why their bodies haven't been found yet. So how can you be sure they are dead? Mr. Pearl. We'll never lose to those monsters. But realistically speaking, Ancient Core Dungeon. Not as complicated as people often think. The conquest can take place within 1 to 2 days. Or adventurers come here to conquer. Can also be killed in the same time. It's been 2 days since the last time they contacted Pearl Hit. Although Taunts very much did not want to admit it. But it's almost certain that he's dead. Then his sword. How about one of the 36 masterpieces of virtue? Magical communication has been stopped. Since they approached the center of the ancient core. So unless they can come back from there, then getting that sword back is impossible. The whole room fell into contemplation. 2 opinions are given. One is to stop conquering that dungeon. To preserve force. 2 is not to give up. Especially when Pearl fought to the death. To go deep into the center. It's very possible that the boss is already injured. Yes, he is the Pearl hero. But the boss was definitely injured. And the dungeon also had to be rearranged. As we said, shouldn't we have gathered first? When it heals, then conquer this dungeon. It's okay, but this is not that simple. Dungeon Conquering Alliance. Lost it all.
One of 10 heroes.
The bravest of the royal family. And that precious sword. But if you just sit still like this, then the royal family will point their swords at them. If we send a second team, we will still lose 7. Surely the leaders will be dismissed. Furthermore, nothing is certain about injuring the dungeon boss. Or not if that conquering team. The dungeon hasn't been damaged in the slightest. So what does it mean for the second team to start? Finally, the leader of the alliance. Difficulty expressing your thoughts. Conquering the ancient core is impossible. Right then, from behind him, a sarcastic laugh rang out. Of a young man. I'm really curious why you think that way. Personally, I think that conquering that dungeon is very easy. Someone just arrived. A member of the Royal Magical Research Association. Prove. The royal family has also begun to intervene in this matter. After these people appeared, the whole auditorium became extremely tense. Of course, they came with no good intentions. That young man. Don't be afraid to use the hardest words. To blame the alliance. Because of their stupidity. Causing a great hero to die. And also lost a masterpiece. The king's precious virtue fell into the hands of his enemies. But if you kill everyone here, then who will cooperate with other conquest teams of the empire? That's why His Majesty has made a proposal for you to live. Let's go conquer the ancient core again. Sounds easy. But the people here, the capabilities are far inferior to the Bunlatants. He cannot. How could they? Nifim, that young man, more or less spit out a word, making everyone excited. What is Nifim? If I'm not mistaken. So it is a solution with many errors, right? It's not a defective product, it's extremely successful. Pearl Istanbul and his group could not survive. Is it because they are weak? Or because they were careless? Of course it's not. Then why? No one knows what the answer is. The atmosphere in the room was deathly silent. Because there is something that Mr. Pearl and his team. What is missing is Nifrim. Open your eyes and see. How successful will this conquest be? At this moment, the black man in the dungeon just sneezed. So much so that all 3 souls and 7 spirits flew out. Suddenly he had a bad feeling. It's as if there's going to be a big storm coming up. Daver sneezed again. Directly transformed from human form. About the original appearance. Do I have the flu with green beans? Daver really just wanted to lie down here to relieve his fatigue. But out there, humanity can enter the dungeon again. Anytime. So he was forced to patrol the entrance. If you're lazy, I'm sure Patrick will blow me away and he'll lose my life. Although Devar is the true master of this dungeon. But every time Patrick gets mad, he's afraid of peeing his pants. The Daver first examined the pile of tentacles. Was beaten and injured by the conquering team. As expected, all had quite serious injuries. But even though he is the owner of this place, Daver couldn't do it on his own either. Interfere with its healing. He wandered into another room. Here is the core of the body. Like the heart and brain of that tentacle. Even if you get beaten up. But the core of the body is still intact. Just need to provide enough nutrition. Being a tentacle can still survive. Daver's own eyes. It looks like the core of that tentacle's body is still very good. Just breathed a sigh of relief. Now just need to wait for them to recover on their own. So the only problem is entrance number 3. The tentacles' bodies were seriously injured. There are currently no guards. Never plan to go back and report to Patrick for an hour. Then go to sleep to quickly recover from the flu. They'll probably get grumbled again, but that's okay. He soon got used to it. Just turned around. Then a dagger flew from behind. Passed it over the Daver's body and stuck it straight on the wall. Humanity is trash. If you have already set foot here, I will definitely make it impossible for you to return alive. The Daver's tail appeared. It was clear he had entered a state of combat readiness. But then, the owner of that voice continued to speak. Oh, is it you, my lord? I still thought, what sinister human being could survive and get in here? Turns out that Greener thought he was someone else. She apologized profusely, but what caught Davar's attention was the completely different interface. Every other day, he stared at Greener suspiciously. Greener, are you dressed up today? Did you pay attention? I'm so happy, my lord. How is the drama today? Look. It's like you're dressing up for a special occasion. Cold sweat poured down Daver's face. Green air is always simple every day. Wear a maid outfit. But today I took the trouble to dress like that. Don't say it's you. I plan to retire before Patrick does. And toe like that is up to the Daver alone. Would holding the whole dungeon be a waste of a special occasion? That's right. Green twirled her long locks with her thumb. Pure graceful. And the developer is getting more and more stressed. Lord, you can for Green. A little bit of my time, okay? No, the Daver's inner screams. Do whatever. As long as you don't quit your job, it's okay. Greener led the Lord to a private place. A set of tables and chairs have been arranged here. She invited him to sit and then brought hot tea. Daver was not at all concerned. Or no Green's girl's feelings. There was only one thought in his mind. That is, don't quit your job, please don't quit your job. This used to be a place only I knew. But now it will be a secret between the two of us, my lord. Oh yeah. And Mr. Davidair has already accepted Greener 85. Do you still remember my enemy? This is clearly a sample resignation letter. The cup of tea that was being raised to Daver's mouth wanted to freeze. He started to reminisce. First time I meet this girl. That was 85 years ago, when thousands of dungeons were devastated. Due to the fever of conquest. Dungeon. At that time, thousands and thousands of people found a way. Enter the ancient core. That's when Greener received her title. And start climbing up the ranking ladder. Yes, she has gone through a lot of hardships. Is your right I better now? He still remembers the eyes of the drama. Of course we still remember it. I used to be very happy. Because I can always be there. Protecting the Lord during this time. Hearing this, Davar really froze. It used to be so much fun. This, not what people say when saying goodbye. I'm not happy anymore and want to quit my job. Right? Davidair chanted the old syntax frantically in his head. Don't quit your job, don't quit your job, don't quit your job. But what Lena said right after that is completely different from what you think. Lord, I like you. Miss, I like you. Green repeated it again as firmly as a nail. Green has been waiting for this moment for the past 85 years. Davar wagged his tail wildly. Not out of joy, but out of confusion. The first time someone confessed to him. Furthermore, he was a loyal guardian throughout 85 years. I don't know what kind of unfortunate situation this is. Daver scratched his head in embarrassment, not knowing what to do. Where does this Green come from? Thank you for telling me that you like me. But we are always floating. Admire the gates of birth and death. We don't know when we will get hurt.
Or the forsire.
Neither of us wants the other. Must live in loneliness. It's not clear that this is a tactful refusal. Drama grabbed his shirt tightly. This answer was completely within her expectations. But that kind of affection that has been cherished for 85 years. Too heavy for her to keep forever in her heart. But until I personally heard the developer's refusal. Green still feels it's beyond endurance. Today she made up her mind. At any cost. She must also be loved by the Lord. The red love stone was already in hand. Green one kick. Kicking the tea table to the developer's panic. Green won't bow his head again. Let's calm down the drama a bit. With this my wish will be fulfilled. My lord, just pour your mana here. Our love will be eternal. 9. The gem in Green's hand emitted pink light. Beautiful, but the deviler just saw this. Your color changed very quickly. The atmosphere around the two people had changed. Developer gradually shows his true form. It's a rough, ugly monster. His anger, covering the girl in front of Green. Did you just try to kill me? The red rhinestone in Green's hand fell down, broken like her heart right now, until Daver regains consciousness. Then Patrick was laughing in his face. The situation just now was so confusing. He lost all his reason. Daver only remembered that Lena was the one who lost her temper first. Plus that fancy red love stone, making him think that she was trying to harm him. Davidair's body fell into a half-human, half-demon state, threatened the Greener to drop the stone. She knelt before the Lord and couldn't take her eyes off him. The stone that I had to use weapons to exchange for. Now it's shattered. That was the time to catch the sting just in time. But both Greener and Davidair are now losing control. There is no other way. He had to draw his sword and knock her away. If you maintain that distance then, just protected Greener from the Lord. In the current state of confusion. Patchich, do you want to kill me too? Davidair roared in indignation. This is the end of the memories. Davidair was now holding his head in extreme pain. He doesn't remember anything at all. I didn't understand why at that time. I'm behaving like that again. Now what to do? Rejecting someone's daughter in such a rude way. Surely Green will be angry with him to death. I guess I have to go find her and apologize now. What do you think? When asking me such an obvious question. Can't deny it. Davar is the most powerful monster. But perhaps in terms of communication, his behavior is worse than the word bad. Even though it's such a hurtful drama. But think about showing your face. Sorry, Davar flinched again. You should know how important she is to this dungeon. But what Patrick said is not wrong. From preparing food for the boss. Manage your diet. Abstain from all monsters in the dungeon. Clean and repair the dungeon. Set up traps and add monsters. Resolved complaints from monsters selling supplies. Budget management. The above tasks all go to Greener and Patrick. Honestly, losing a Greener is worse than losing a dungeon. Even if we destroy you, I also know that. So please go find her before it's too late. Even if I have to bow down and beg her. Or kiss her shoes and bring her back here. Davidair's hands were once stained with blood. How many people never encountered such a difficult problem like this? But he couldn't just avoid Rinnan anymore. Patrick gave him a bracelet called Dimera. This can help stabilize mana. You don't need to know the details. Just know it's very expensive. The idea of catching a shot is smart, so don't mess it up. Because the mana flow on the Devar's body is very strong. If you can't control it, it's very easy to fall into a bad situation like before. Even though he doesn't know. Does this thing work well on Daver people? But distortion is better than nothing. Are you prepared this carefully? Like you know. This will happen from the beginning. So disgusting. Where did this bracelet come from? Can I pick it up on the floor? The two of them hung around each other for a while. Patrick still did not forget to mention the main point. That's Davar with only 5 days going back and forth. Because soon humanity will return here. Not even Daver. And dreams do. It will be very difficult for Patrick to stop all the intruders. I don't know what will happen. If humans can reach that place. Sir, 5 days. I can guarantee that the place is safe. For at least 5 days. Please remember that well. Okay. I will return to Green within 5 days. After Deva left, Patrick sighed. The situation seemed more complicated than he had imagined. Patchik pulled a crumpled newspaper out of his ribs. Above. This is information about the round sword named Decapitation Claw. One of 36 virtuous masterpieces being auctioned. Looks like Green sold it somewhere. And buy back the piece of red love stone containing the devil inside. That's what caused the developer to lose control. But I can't let you know that Greener was deceived. Patrick can imagine the scenario. When Daver learned about it. This will be the end of the world. Patrick turned the newspaper over again. And seeing an announcement was even more shocking. Union to conquer the dungeon. Confidence in this conquest. They will reach the core of the ruins within 3 days. It's not like I just promised my boss I would protect him. This place is at least 5 days or something. Patrick felt like he had been hit on the head by lightning. Damn it, my body is miserable. At this time, the black skin was lying exhausted on the ground. This is the second time. He randomly teleported to a location. But the important thing is to get to the wrong place. Well, try again. Place appeared in Davar's mind. That's where Green sold the mana stones. Hashton Town. The scene changes to another place. Even lowly humanity managed to climb this far. We must give privilege to the little creatures. Just you guys. How about a glorious death? It's devilishly funny but also arrogant. We are an experienced conquering team. Ranked 32nd in the entire kingdom. Elite mercenaries of the Tiger Army. Remember this name, because soon we will be famous throughout the world. Looks like a mercenary team. Go conquer an ancient castle. The owner of this castle is a beautiful female devil. She is the 17th descendant of the demon king Asmodeus Mers Eli. Lim Feria. Facing the insolent crowd of humans who want to take their throne. That Arya was completely without patience. You have the honor of knowing my name. Now go and die. The leader of a group of mercenaries. Nor did she flinch before her pressure. He carried his weapon. Decisively rushed towards the opponent. Aryan held a weapon in his hand. Spin in a circle to create a shield. Block all attacks from opponents. At this time, another guy in the team also rushed up to assist. The more Aryan looked at them, the more annoyed he became. Just a bunch of weak mercenaries. But also dare to provoke her. Humanity does not know its own identity. I will turn you into ashes. Powerful purple mana flow. Symbolizes the power of Aryan. Covers the entire room. It's like a fire. In the blink of an eye, the mercenaries were swallowed whole. Horrible screams echoed. Only the captain remained. Aryan raised the staff in his hand again. Cast a new spell. A cloud of ice and snow was formed. Aim straight for that captain and attack. But this guy is also quite agile. Escape what could have been avoided. Do you think I will leave you alone? Witch? He grabbed a floor tile. Use force to throw straight towards your opponent. But this thing is not a magic weapon. In general, Aryan cannot be harmed. She cursed stupidly. Then continue using the spell to condense ice bullets. Shoot towards the captain. I thought everything was over here. But right now, a shield appeared above his head. Aryan was extremely surprised. It wasn't like her mana flames were already done with it. The magician is already in the group, huh? The captain rushed forward. Turned out to be the magician of the mercenary team. Not really dead yet. Regardless of his current condition. Not very positive either. Aryan is even more annoying. She wanted to quickly deal with these pests. Right hand clenched into fist. Aryan. And the other captain simultaneously rushed towards the opponent. Like two arrows pointing in opposite directions. At wind-breaking speed. A great commotion occurred. Causing the whole room to crumble. Broken bricks and stones flew everywhere. Both the captain and the demon girl. They were all thrown backwards. But both can be felt. The power that just knocked me back didn't come from the opponent. Ariana quickly noticed. There is a third force that has just appeared. And that captain's name was also extremely difficult to understand because of that. He never received any information. There is another conquering team that will also be coming here. Arya struggled to stand up. Now she seemed to be starting to get really worried. If the new arrivals are stronger and also human, that's dangerous. That way they will surpass the Demon King's stronghold. After all, who just descended from the sky? In the thick smoke and dust, a tall, thin figure gradually appeared. Do you know which way to go to Hardian Town? Both Aryan and that mercenary team. They all showed the same expression. Green Bean. A strange name suddenly fell from the sky. Give them a painful blow. Then what the hell are you talking about? Davida lazily scratched his head and said yes. Then, people just want to ask for directions in good faith. His sight fell on Arian. Hey, you can bring as many people here as you want. Either way, you can't defeat me. She's a pretty girl but has a hot temper. Black Skin recognized the female devil wrongly. The demon girl in front of her was a demon king. There is Aryan thing. Gives me a completely different feeling. Compared to the demon lords we met before. Diro sighed deeply. Is this because of the generation gap? Am I really old already? Still engrossed in thinking. This side continued to echo the curses. You bastard will pay a very high price. For daring to destroy my castle. Ha, let me give you a taste of these bastards' blows. Right now. The mercenary group's reinforcements have also arrived. Being booked adds both strength and spirit. The captain immediately ordered an attack. And the bloody Aryan did not hesitate. Immediately responded to battle very quickly. The two sides continued to fight and tear each other apart. Black Skin stood to one side as if invisible. Absolutely no one took notice of it. Hey, wait guys. 01 Who cares about what you say? Exactly one person. Let's see if your magic can't hurt anyone. Where are we? Lowly human beings tend to speak too harshly. We have aid, don't be afraid. Taste the pain, you vile people. Devar hasn't given up hope yet. Can anyone show me the way to Hasty Town? Of course, no one still paid attention to him. Soil and rocks scattered around like rain. Devar, sitting among the ruins, began to become upset. I have to find Lena soon. Otherwise, Patrick will chew your head off. Devar forgot that he was blind. Even though it's been teleported many times. Can't get to that town either. But that group is busy fighting. Surely I cannot give you the answer. Devar lazily stood up and was about to leave. But a mercenary now called him again. With a somewhat insolent attitude. Hey bastard, don't come over here and help us. Black leather is available. Anger in body. Hearing this sentence, I immediately burst into silence. The appearance of a monster began to cover his body. Along with that is the release of a huge source of mana. Davar's mana carries a suffocating pressure. Like darkness. Start swallowing whole. Take the mercenaries in the other room. The situation quickly became chaotic. 7-bar scream. It's the only thing that remains in Arian's impression. Until she gets it back. It is recognized that the whole team of mercenaries. The other 10 guys have all been swallowed by Davar. He even lived in a very big one. It's amazing, you're so strong. Maybe he's even stronger than me. Ariana's eyes sparkled as she began to work. Dear Davidair, I'm very interested in you. I want to learn more about him. Before Deverer could answer, Arian lost control and spit out a series of questions. What is your identity? What is that big black thing that just appeared? Where did you put it? What is your secret to having that power? Devar showed a disgusted face. It is true that the generation gap causes many real consequences. He hates children, especially the pink-haired creature. The back has butterfly wings standing in front of this. At that moment, Arian also realized his impoliteness. She quickly gathered herself and then said sorry to Davar. Next, Arian used the most flamboyant behavior possible. Once again, introduce yourself to the other person. Please introduce yourself. A beautiful and famous demon king. 17th descendant of Asmodeus male Gelimphagia. The 7-year-old look of hers makes Davar hate him even more. But anyway, out of politeness, I should introduce myself a bit first, right? Black reluctantly wanted to introduce his name. But very quickly he realized that was not very good. Because if you reveal your identity now, it will be believed. That means the owner of the ancient core has left the dungeon. It will quickly spread everywhere. Surely Patrick will not allow that to happen.